The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Captain Eli Vaughn sat alone inside his small ship, Whisper Hawk, drifting at the edge of a forgotten solar system. Retired, forgotten. He sipped cold coffee, staring into the darkness. No missions, no war. Number. Purpose. Until the signal came. It was a short burst, broken, full of static. But there was something strange, a child's scream, followed by a voice in a language no one had ever heard before. Eli froze. He replayed the signal, the scream again. And then one word came through clearly in Old Earth Standard: help. He leaned forward. His heart beat faster. It wasn't just a message. It was a cry from a dead planet. T single quotes are ELLON-5. That name hit like a punch. Eli remembered the files. That planet had been marked as lost a decade ago. Biohazard, no life signs. No rescues ever sent. He opened the galactic database. Trellin 5 was still listed as a level 0 zone. Enter and die. Radiation, chemical storms. Alien tech gone wrong. But that scream, that wasn't radiation. That was a child. He tapped his console. Hawk, prepare for jump. The eye responded. Warning, destination is outside approved coordinates. Bio-threat probability, 93%. Override, he said. The ship groaned into motion. Lights flickered. The engines warmed up. The jump gate aligned. He didn't know why he was doing this. He just knew no one else would. As the stars bent around him and the jump began, he whispered to himself, "Hold on, kid. I'm coming." The ship dropped out of hyperspace. And silence returned. Trellin 5 rotated slowly below. The planet looked dead. Gray, dry. Its clouds didn't move. Its mountains looked like broken bones. Eli ran. A scan. No cities. No power signals. Just one spot, an old facility buried under the surface. Faint heat. And something else. 12 weak life signs. He locked in the landing. But the moment he entered the atmosphere, things went wrong. The sky turned dark green. Winds howled. The ship shook violently. Systems crashed. Stabilizers offline, the AI warned. Eli grabbed the controls. Manual landing. He fought the ship, guiding it through the storm. It hit hard. Metal groaned. Sparks flew. The lights went out. He sat still, breathing. He was alive, but the ship wasn't. Outside, the wind howled like a dying animal. He grabbed his gear mask, weapon, old combat suit, and stepped into the poisoned world. The ground was ash. The air was thick, greenish fog. Eli walked slowly, his boots crunching dead soil. The scanner beeped. The life signs were close beneath him. He found a small elevator hatch, half buried under dirt. A red light blinked weakly. He pried it open. The shaft led down into darkness. He attached a cable to his suit and began the descent. As he lowered deeper, the sound faded. The wind disappeared. The only noise was the hum of his gear and the faint beeping of the scanner. Finally, he reached the bottom. A door stood in front of him, old, rusted, but it opened with a soft hiss, and what he saw inside made him stop. Children. Alien. Children. They stared at him, wide-eyed, glowing eyes, thin bodies, gray skin, some with tails or horns. All looked scared, dirty, hungry. In small. At least a dozen of them, hiding behind broken beds and old machines. One stepped forward. A girl. She had green skin and silver eyes. She walked slowly, looking up at him. Then, in a soft voice, she said, "Eli." "Vaughn." His heart skipped. "How do you know my name?" he asked, lowering his weapon. The girl didn't answer. She collapsed in his arms. He carried her to a broken chair and gave her water from his pack. The other children moved closer, still afraid. He looked around the room. Old lab equipment. Medical tools, strange machines. Some still blinked with light. Everything covered in dust and silence. The walls had words in multiple languages. One line stood out, written in red. Project Unity. Test subjects must not leave. He frowned. Test subjects? What happened here? He asked softly. The girl, weak but awake now, pointed at the walls. They made us. Then they left. Who? She shook her head. I don't know. They wore white. They smelled like metal. Eli felt a chill. Scientists? Soldiers? AI? Another child, a boy with blue scales, stepped forward. Are you here to take us home? Eli looked at them all. They weren't monsters. They were just kids. I'll try, he said. He moved room to room, searching for answers, though most of the facility was dark. Some doors were sealed. Others had signs: quarantine, failed sample, do not enter. In one lab, he found a journal, handwritten. Human language. It told of a secret program. Scientists trying to create a peaceful hybrid, mixing human DNA with alien children taken from abandoned colonies. The idea was to make them smarter, faster, stronger. Perfect peacekeepers. But something went wrong. A virus. A mutation. Fear. They shut the project down. And left the children behind. Eli's stomach turned. This wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up. The girl woke again. She told him her name, Luma. She wasn't sure how long they'd been alone. Time didn't work the same down there. No sun, no seasons. She had strange dreams sometimes. Of Earth, of Eli. He frowned. You dreamed of me? She nodded. You came in fire. To save us. He didn't understand. But somehow these children knew him, or someone wanted them to. Then the sound came, a low, deep growl. Not human, not machine. Something alive. The children froze. Luma whispered, It's back. What is it? She shook her head. It watches us. Eli grabbed his weapon and moved toward the hallway. The growl grew louder. He turned the corner and saw eyes, big, yellow, reflecting his light. A creature, 9 feet tall, thin, with long arms and twisted skin, crawled toward him. Eli fired. The blast hit its chest. It didn't fall. It roared. He shouted, Run! The kids scattered. He fired again, hitting its head this time. The creature dropped, but didn't die. It twitched, moving slowly. Eli threw a grenade and pulled back. The explosion shook the hall. Silence. But for how long? Back with the children. He knew they couldn't stay. His ship was dead. They needed a way out. He pulled up the old maps. There was a surface communications tower 50 miles west. If they could reach it, he could call for help. Maybe. He looked at the kids. Could they walk that far? Did they have time? Another growl answered that question. No. Eli stood and looked at Luma. I'm getting you out, he said. She smiled faintly. You already have. He didn't understand what she meant, but deep inside, he knew one thing. This wasn't just a rescue. It was the beginning of something bigger. Something the galaxy tried to bury. But now it was waking up. The dark hallway echoed with Eli's footsteps as he led the frightened children deeper into the underground facility. His flashlight beam cut through the thick air, revealing broken walls, rusted doors, and strange claw marks on metal. He kept his weapon ready. That thing he fought wasn't dead. And it wasn't alone. Behind him, the children followed quietly. No crying, no talking, just silence, trained silence. These kids had lived in fear for too long. Eli stopped at a locked door. With a faded symbol, an Earth flag crossed with 3 alien marks. The symbol of Project Unity. He looked at Luma. What's behind this door? She hesitated. The others, he frowned. More children. No, she whispered. Not children, the ones that changed. Eli felt a cold chill. He moved past the door. He didn't want to meet them. Not yet. The children led Eli to an old food storage room. Shelves were mostly empty, but a few nutrition packs remained. Dusty, years old, but better than nothing, he gave out the food. The kids opened the packs with shaking hands. Some had never eaten solid food before. Others held the food but didn't eat, waiting for Eli to try it first. He took a bite, dry, bitter, but safe. Then they ate. Luma sat close to him, watching him carefully. "You came alone," she said. "Yeah. No army, no fleet?" No one believed the signal. "They said it was a dead planet." She looked down. "Everyone leaves." Eli felt anger rise in his chest. How could the galaxy turn its back on them? Kids like Luma, abandoned, forgotten. He looked at her. Not this time. Later, Eli began exploring nearby rooms. He had to find supplies, batteries, medicine, maybe weapons. He stepped into a control chamber, screen still glowing faintly. He wiped off the dust and tapped the console. Surprisingly, it responded. A voice crackled from the speakers, soft, robotic, female. "Welcome, Dr. Rish. Project Unity active. Status contained." He wasn't Dr. Rish, but the system didn't know that. He typed quickly, pulling up data. Each child had a file. Test subject numbers, DNA profiles, experiments, training logs. Some had mixed human and alien DNA. Others were pure alien but altered. One file stood out. Subject 1X-L.Luma.She was the first success. Eli's jaw clenched. Luma wasn't a normal girl. She was the reason this place existed. And someone, somewhere, might still be watching. Suddenly, the screen changed. A new image appeared. A face, cold, smiling, bald head. Black eyes, human. "You shouldn't be here, Eli Vaughn," the voice said. "But I knew you'd come." Eli's blood ran cold. "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. "I'm the architect. The father of this project. Where are you?" "I'm everywhere. This facility still works, you know. And so do my guardians." The screen flickered and went dark. Behind Eli, something moved. Fast. He turned just in time to see a black shape disappear into the vent. Not a child, not human. Eli raised his weapon. "Damn it," he returned to the kids. "Everyone stay together. No wandering." The children nodded. Obedient, too obedient. Like trained soldiers. That bothered him. "What did they make you do here?" he asked. Luma looked away. "They made us fight each other." She nodded. "For food, for sleep, for tests." He clenched his fists. "Not anymore." She looked at him. "You're different. You don't fear us. You're just kids." "But we're not normal." He stared. I don't care." They rested for a few hours. Ailey took first watch. He heard scratching, hissing, mechanical sounds. Something was hunting them. When his shift ended, he gently shook one of the boys. Vic, small, with golden eyes and soft horns. "You keep watch now," Eli said. The boy took the weapon like he'd done it 100 times before. That scared Eli more than the monsters. The next morning, or what felt like morning, Eli gathered the group. "We're heading to the surface," he said. "There's a tower that can call for help." The children looked nervous. "It's far," one of them said. "I know, but we can't stay here. Not with those things." Luma raised her hand. "There's a path, a maintenance tunnel. It leads near the tower. We used it before." "You've been to the surface?" She nodded. "Once, but we came back. It was too bright." He smiled. "We'll fix that." He gave them goggles from the supply room, wrapped cloth around their eyes. They packed what little food and gear they had. Then they left. The tunnel was narrow, dark, smelled like rust and wet metal. They walked in silence. One by one, Eli in front, Luma in the middle, Vic at the back. After 2 hours, they reached a wide chamber. Pipes ran along the walls. A ladder led up into blackness. "Halfway," Luma said. Suddenly, Vic called out. Something's coming. Eli turned, just as a creature dropped from the ceiling. It wasn't the one from before. This one was bigger. It landed on Vic, pinning him. The boy screamed. Eli fired. The blast hit the creature's arm, blowing it off. Black blood sprayed. But it didn't stop. The children scattered. Eli tackled the thing. Dragging it off Vic, he pulled a blade from his side and stabbed it in the neck. It shrieked and died. Heavy silence followed. Vic was bleeding. Bad. Eli pressed bandages on the wound. Stay with me. The boy nodded weakly. They rested again. Eli carried Vic on his back now. The others were shaken. I thought they were all dead, Luma said. Eli shook his head. Someone left these things to stop us. To stop you, she corrected. He didn't answer. They walked again. Hours passed. Finally, light appeared up ahead. The exit. Eli pushed open the hatch. Sunlight poured in. The children screamed, covering their eyes. He helped them out one by one. The planet's surface was dry, broken land, sharp rocks. No trees. Just dead hills and ruins of old buildings. In the distance, they saw a tall, thin tower. Communication array. Still standing, still working. Eli smiled. There it is. The children looked at it like it was heaven, but something was wrong. Eli's scanner beeped. A ship. Not his. Incoming. Fast. They ran toward the tower, staying low. Halfway there, the ship landed. A black transport, military grade. Not alien. Human. Eli cursed. He motioned for the kids to hide behind rocks. The ship opened. 6 soldiers stepped out. Not government. Mercenaries. And they were scanning for life signs. One of them called out, "He's here. I see the trail." Eli's heart pounded. They weren't here to help. They were here to clean up. To erase evidence. To kill the children. He handed Luma a small device. "If I don't come back, keep running. Get to the tower." "No," she said. "You can't fight them alone. I've done worse." He smiled and stepped out. Gun ready. He fired first. One merc dropped. The others took cover and fired back. Eli ran across rocks, drawing fire away from the children. He tossed a flash grenade. Blinding light. Took down 2 more. He was fast. Smart. Experienced. But not bulletproof. One shot hit his leg. He fell. The last 2 mercs moved in. One raised his gun to finish him. Then a beam of bright energy hit the soldier in the chest. Burned straight through. He dropped. The last merc turned. Luma stood behind him, her hand glowing, eyes bright white, power humming. The merc screamed. Ran. She didn't chase him. She knelt beside. "Eli, you said we weren't monsters," she said. "You were right." He smiled, bleeding. "You saved me." She shook her head. "You saved us first." Together, the children carried him to the tower. He activated the console, typed in a code. Only old soldiers knew. A call for help, the signal. Went out. Far. Across the stars. He looked at the sky. And whispered, "Now let's see who still cares." The tower stood tall and silent. Eli Vaughn leaned against the control panel, blood still leaking from his leg wound. His fingers moved quickly across the dusty interface. Old systems. Outdated codes. But he knew how they worked. He had one goal. Send a call strong enough to reach Earth. Behind him, the children sat in the shade of broken rocks. Luma watched the sky. The others kept close to each other, whispering, holding hands. They were tired, hungry, but free for now. A sharp beep made Eli look down. The console blinked green. Signal sent. He let out a deep breath. That signal held everything: coordinates, warnings, and the truth about Project Unity. If someone out there still had a heart, they'd come. But the question haunted him: would help arrive before the next enemy did? Luma walked to him, her silver eyes full of concern. "You need rest," she said. "I'll rest when you're safe." She looked up at the tower. "Will more bad people come?" "Yes," Eli said quietly. Now that the signal's out, they'll want to stop it. Why? Because the truth is dangerous. She tilted her head. But it's just us. Eli looked at her. No, Luma, it's what you are. That night, Eli stayed awake again. The wound in his leg burned, but he didn't complain. The children were asleep in the tower's shadow, all except Vic, the boy with golden eyes and horns. He sat beside Eli, staring at the stars. Is Earth real? Vic asked. Yes. Have you seen it? Lived there. Born there. Is it beautiful? Eli smiled. Sometimes. Trees, water, cities with lights. But the people, they can be better. Vic nodded. I want to see it. You will. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Eli stood up, eyes sharp. The vibration was small, but growing stronger. He picked up his scanner. Movement. From below. The ground cracked, dirt split open. A massive claw broke through the surface. Then another. A creature pulled itself out of the earth. 10 feet tall. Skin like metal. Mouth wide with spinning teeth. Not one of the beasts from the lab. This was worse. Engineered. Designed. Controlled. Vic screamed. The children woke. Terrified. Eli raised his weapon and fired. The blast hit the monster, but bounced off. It roared. Luma screamed. It's a hunter. It's one of the final ones. You've seen this before? Eli shouted. In training. They sent it after the failures. Eli's heart raced. And what happened to those failures? They all died. He grabbed Luma's hand. Run! The children sprinted toward the ruined building near the tower. Eli stayed behind, firing again and again. The blast slowed the creature, but didn't stop it. He threw a grenade. Smoke exploded. The beast vanished in the cloud. Eli limped back, following the kids into the building. Inside, it was dark. Safe for now. The children huddled together, breathing hard. Eli looked at Luma. How many of those things are there? I don't know. Maybe more. Maybe worse. Eli stared at the broken wall. They're not monsters. They're weapons. Suddenly, a sound echoed in the building. A voice. Soft, calm, male. Captain Vaughn, you are still alive. How unexpected. Eli froze. The voice came from a small console on the wall. A hologram flickered. The same man from before. The architect. Who are you really? Eli demanded. The man smiled. I am Dr. Ilos Var, lead of Project Unity, Earthborn, trained by the Galactic Science Council, and the true father of these children. You abandoned them. No, I set them free. Free? Eli growled. You turned them into weapons. Var tilted his head. I improved them. Their species were dying. Now they can survive, adapt, lead. They're children. Their evolution. The hologram flickered again. I warned the galaxy. They didn't listen, so I created a new future. But you are a delay, not a threat. The screen went black, and the wall exploded. The hunter returned. It tore through stone like paper. Eli grabbed 2 children and ran for cover. Luma turned. Her hands glowing again. She raised both arms. Energy shot forward. It hit the hunter in the chest. This time, it screamed. Smoke rose from its armor. It stumbled back. Eli stared in shock. How did you do that? Luma was shaking. I don't know. It just happens when I'm scared. Do it again. I can't control it. The hunter roared again and leaped. Right toward her. Eli ran forward, tackled Luma out of the way. The hunter slammed into the floor, cracking it. Dust filled the air. Eli fired again. Useless. Luma rolled to the side, eyes glowing but flickering. Her strength was fading. Then a high-pitched hum filled the room. The hunter froze and exploded from the inside. Metal flew everywhere. The children ducked. Silence. Then Vic walked forward, his hands still glowing. Eli blinked. You too? Vic smiled weakly. I was scared too. Eli looked at them both. These kids weren't just survivors. They were evolving. They stayed hidden until morning. No. More hunters came. But Eli knew it was only a matter of time. Dr. Var is still watching, he said. He knows we're alive. He's sending more. Where is he? Luma asked. Eli checked the signal logs. The command station is still online, deep underground, miles west. Can we go there? She asked. You want to face him? She nodded. He made us, hurt us. We need to stop him. Eli thought for a moment, then nodded. They moved again, across dead plains, through broken metal fields and forgotten machines. Eli carried Vic on his back. The others walked slowly, tired, but determined. They reached the entrance to the underground command center by nightfall. It was hidden, inside a collapsed mountain. The door was sealed, no keypad, no scanner, just a single message scratched into the metal. Only Unity may enter. Luma stepped forward. She placed her hand on the door. Nothing. Then Vic stepped beside her. Also touched the door. Still nothing. Then, one by one, the children walked forward. They placed their hands on the metal. When the last one touched it, the door opened. The hallway inside was clean, bright, silent. White walls, lights overhead, no dust, no rust. It was alive. Waiting. Eli moved slowly. Gun ready. They passed through labs with glowing tanks. Inside, half-formed creatures floated in green liquid. Some looked like the kids. Others didn't look like anything Eli had ever seen. He turned away. They reached the final room, the control chamber. Dr. Var stood at the center. Alive. Human. Smiling. Double quotes. I knew you'd come, he said. Luma stepped forward. Why did you make us? To fix what the galaxy broke. You hurt us. I made you strong. You made us alone. Var's smile faded. You were the beginning, but you're too emotional. I've corrected that flaw in the next batch. He pointed to a chamber behind him. Inside, more pods, more children, empty eyes. Still forming. Eli raised his weapon. No more. Var pressed a button. Energy blasted through the room. The kids screamed. Luma collapsed. Eli fell to his knees. Pain, noise, light. Var walked closer. You're finished. Then one of the children stood. His eyes pure white. He reached toward Var, and the lights exploded. Var screamed. The chamber cracked. The control panel shattered. The energy field vanished. Eli stood slowly. The kids stood too, eyes glowing. All of them. Luma helped Eli up. We're not weapons, she said. We're not monsters. Vic added. We're not your creation. Said another. They raised their hands, and the whole chamber filled with energy. Var tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Light swallowed him, and he was gone. The command center shut down. Power died. Silence returned. Eli walked out with the children. Back to the surface. No more hunters. No more voices. Just sunlight. They sat quietly, looking at the sky. Then a voice crackled in Eli's. Come. This is Earth Fleet. We received your signal. Help is coming. He smiled, looked at Luma. You ready to go home? She looked at the stars. We're already home. Kellen stood in the middle of the underground chamber, frozen. Dozens of small eyes stared at him in silence. Alien children. Thin, quiet, eyes wide with fear. He couldn't move. Not because he was scared, but because he realized everything had changed. These weren't prisoners. These were survivors. And now, they looked at him like he was their last hope. But Kellen had no plan. No backup. No idea who the enemy really was. Just one human. Against an empire of silence and secrets. And if he made the wrong move now, those children would vanish forever. Main story, Part 4. The children didn't speak at first. They only watched Kellen as if trying to decide whether he was real or another trap. Kellen slowly crouched down, showing his empty hands. It's okay, he whispered. I'm here to help. One of the older children, her skin a soft shade of violet with glowing veins, stepped forward. Her name was Leary. She didn't speak his language, but she understood his tone. Her eyes were tired. Not from sleep, but from fear. From years of hiding. She pressed a button on the wall. A soft hum filled the room. Then, a projection lit up. It showed human ships dropping. Something on the surface of this planet. But it wasn't bombs. It was crates. Crates filled with supplies. Food, water, and notes in human standard language. Kellen's heart dropped. These children. They think humans are the enemy, he muttered. He turned to the projection. The crates looked real. But something felt off. Why would humans send help and then vanish? And why were the children still trapped? Secrets in the dust. Leary led him through. The tunnels. Old wires ran along the ceiling. Machines buzzed in the walls. Kellen guessed this place used to be an underground science facility. They reached a sealed door. Leary tapped in a code. The door opened with a hiss. Inside, the walls were covered with screens. Data flowed nonstop. Old, corrupted, but not completely dead. Kellen accessed one of the panels. It showed logs from 10 years ago. Test subjects arrived. Alien children from the Tralith cluster, malnourished, frightened. We are to observe human-alien child adaptation. Do not inform them of origin. His stomach twisted. They weren't just survivors. They were experiments. Someone had brought them here, not to help, but to study. And then they left, or were forced to back on them. Surface. Kellen returned to the surface with Leary. The sandstorm had stopped. He tried to contact his ship, still no response. But something else caught his eye. A drone. Small. Silent. Watching from the rocks. He grabbed his blaster and fired, but it zipped away too fast. Someone knew he was here. Maybe the same ones who abandoned these kids. Maybe worse. Time's running out, he muttered. If they find us, it's over. A plan begins that night. Kellen sat with the children. He used an old holographic translator to speak to them. I'm sorry, he said, voice low. I thought I came to rescue you, but now I know the truth. You were taken, hurt, lied to, and now you're forgotten. Leary looked at him. Why help us? He thought for a long time. Then said, because you shouldn't have to survive. Like this, no child should. The children started opening up. They told stories. About the shining men who came and took blood samples. About the alarms that rang when anyone tried to escape. About the one girl who ran outside once and never came back. Kellen listened. And slowly, an idea began to form. He couldn't wait for help. He had to fight. The hidden escape route to Leary led Kellen to a broken elevator shaft. She pointed down. Old cargo lift, she said. Goes to surface, hidden. It was their only way out without being seen. Kellen inspected it. Rusted, but fixable. They'd need time, tools, and a distraction. He nodded. We'll make it work. An enemy revealed just as Kellen returned to the main control room. The screens blinked. A face appeared. Gray skin. Golden eyes, cold smile. Human, the alien said. You found our little garden. Kellen tensed. Who are you? I am Jeroen, commander of Biosector 7. This facility is ours. The children are ours. Kellen narrowed his eyes. You left them to rot. They served their purpose, Jeroen said. Now they are evidence. The screen cut out. An alarm blared. Extraction unit incoming. Kellen turned to the kids. We move now. Cliffhanger ending. They raced through the tunnels. The escape route buzzed with power. The cargo lift was online. But outside, the sound of dropships filled the air. Kellen looked at Leary. Once this door opens, we run, no matter what. The lift door opened. Light poured in, and standing at the top were armed aliens, waiting. Kellen raised his blaster. One human. Dozens of children. He whispered, "Let's see if we can shake the stars." The alien ship roared through space, faster than any ship the human had ever seen. Ethan sat quietly near the back, hands tied, heart heavy. Around him, the alien children huddled close together. They were scared. Most of them were crying softly, and some kept looking at him for comfort. He gave them a weak smile, but inside he felt hopeless. He had failed. He had promised to protect them. Now they were all prisoners again. The bounty hunters who took them didn't speak much. Their armor was thick and dark, and their faces stayed hidden behind helmets. They didn't care about the children. They only cared about the credits. And Ethan? They didn't even see him as a threat, but they would regret that. A shadow in the darkness, back on the surface of the ruined planet. Captain Rova of the Galactic Peace Patrol watched the skies. Her eyes scanned for the stolen ship, and her sensors followed the faint trail of its engine core. Ethan's emergency beacon had stopped sending. That worried her. He was right, she whispered to herself. There were children down there, and someone didn't want us to find them. Her ship AI spoke. Trail detected. They've gone into unregistered space. Rova frowned. Smugglers or slavers? Unknown, but human life signs were on board. Rova stood up straight. We go after them, now. She had seen what humans could do when they were pushed too far. If Ethan survived, he would not give up. And if he died, then the galaxy would see a side of humanity it feared the most. Inside the hunter ship, the children were hungry. The bounty hunters finally tossed them a crate of old protein bars. They'll live, the hunter growled. That's all we need. Ethan looked around the ship. The walls were smooth metal, but there were no cameras, no guards watching. The bounty hunters thought they were safe. That was their mistake. He leaned to the side, pretending to cough, and whispered to the eldest alien child, "You remember the plan?" She nodded quickly. Her name was Vila. She was only 13, but smart and brave. When the lights go out, Ethan said quietly, you get the others and run to the escape pod bay. Do not stop. No matter what happens. But what about you? Vila asked. Ethan gave a small smile. I'll be right behind you. She looked unsure, but nodded. She trusted him. They all did. He was the first adult who had fought for them. The plan begins later that cycle, when the ship entered a nebula cloud and sensors went blind. Ethan moved. The cuffs on his wrists were strong, but the guard had been lazy. Ethan had hidden a small, sharp metal piece in his boot. It took time, but he cut the bindings and waited. Then, he slammed his hand on the wall, triggering the fire alert. Red lights flashed. Alarms screamed. The ship's systems panicked. Oxygen levels dropped. Sprinklers activated. The bounty hunters jumped to their feet. Fire in Sector 3. Who set it off? They ran toward the engine room. And that was the moment Ethan needed. He grabbed Vila's hand. Now they moved fast. He punched the door controls open and shoved the children out. Go, 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 the youngest tripped. Ethan picked him up and kept running. Alarms kept screaming. Lights flickered. But then, one of the hunters turned around. There, he's loose. Fight in the corridor. Ethan turned, pushing the children toward the escape pods. The hunter charged at him, weapon raised. Ethan dodged. He had no gun, no armor, but he had his fists and rage. He slammed into the alien, grabbing the rifle and twisting it away. The alien was bigger, stronger, but Ethan was faster. 1, 2, 3 punches and the hunter dropped. More footsteps. 2 more hunters. Keep going, Ethan shouted to the kids. Get in the pods, Vila screamed. Ethan. He turned, saw her hesitate, and then run. He fought with everything he had. Kicked, threw a piece of broken pipe. Ducked behind walls. He got hit once hard, but stayed on his feet. His only goal, buy time. The escape pods launched. The children reached the pods. Vela took command. Strap in. Launch the second it's full. The pods designed for emergencies could only hold 5. Each. There were 12 kids. Vela split them quickly. From the window, she saw Ethan still fighting. "Please make it," she whispered. The pod lights blinked green. The doors shut. One by one, they blasted away, but Ethan wasn't in any of them. Crash and the rescue Captain Rova's ship caught the signal. Escape pods detected. Children on board. No human. Her heart sank. But she had to act. Bring them in. Prepare medical. As her crew brought the children aboard, Rova asked Vela, "Where is Ethan?" Tears ran down the girl's face. He stayed to fight. He saved. US all. Rova turned to her crew. "We tracked that ship. Now, I don't care if we go through a star to find it." Meanwhile, Ethan was bleeding. The last hunter slammed him into the wall. "You ruined everything, human." Ethan grinned, bloody. "You have no idea what you just started." Then, the ship jerked. Alarms again. Smoke filled the air. "System failure," the AI said. "Hull breach." The last thing Ethan saw was fire, then darkness. Somewhere in deep space, a small ship watched from the shadows. Inside, a figure tapped the screen. Human life signs faint but present. The ship turned silently toward the wreckage of the bounty hunter vessel. Time to collect the hero. The alien ship shuddered. Explosions echoed through the long metal corridors. Emergency lights flashed red, and thick black smoke filled the air. The enemy fleet had arrived faster than expected. They were already firing, but in the center of the chaos stood the human Lieutenant Rafe. He didn't move. Not yet. Around him, dozens of alien children huddled close. Some were crying, others shaking. Their small bodies trembled from the noise, from fear, from what they had already been through. They had been saved once. Now they were under attack again, and this time, there was nowhere to run. 5 to 7 minute suspense. "Hook," the enemy broadcast crackled through the ship's speakers. It was deep, cold, and mocking. "Surrender the human and the alien spawn. You have 10 minutes. Refuse, and we will erase your ship from the stars." Silence followed. The children looked at Rafe. He didn't blink. Instead, he stepped forward, tapped into the ship's comms, and replied with just 4 words, "We don't run ever." Main story: the enemy had surrounded the ship. There were no friendly forces nearby. They were cut off in a dead zone of space, with limited power, no jump drive, and only a weak shield generator. Captain Ora, the alien who had helped Rafe rescue the children, looked worried. "We can't fight them. We have no weapons strong." "Enough. We have me," Rafe said calmly. Ora blinked. "You're human, not a god," Rafe smiled. "To them, there's not much difference." He turned to the children. He kneeled down and looked each of them in the eye. "I promised you safety. I don't break promises. Today, you learn what it means to be human, not by blood, by heart." One of the small children, a blue-scaled girl named Kiv, asked in a whisper, "Will we die?" Rafe shook his head. "Not today. Preparing for war. There were no big cannons, no fighter ships, no reinforcements." But Rafe had one thing that most forget: knowledge. He walked to the engineering bay and asked for every scrap of metal, every explosive battery, every pipe, and every broken drone. Then he began to build. Captain Ora watched in confusion. "You're building bombs?" "No," Rafe replied. "I'm building fear." He turned old maintenance drones into fast-moving traps, placed flash charges inside air vents, rewired security systems to create illusions. And finally, he connected the ship's AI to his neural implant to run the entire defense from his mind. "You're not fighting them with guns?" Ora asked again. "No, I'm fighting them with their own minds." The enemy boards. Exactly 10 minutes later, the enemy ships launched boarding pods. Dozens of enemy soldiers, tall, armored, ruthless, stormed the ship. But the moment they entered, everything went wrong. Lights flickered in strange patterns. Holograms of more humans appeared, armed and moving. Explosions shook the halls. With every wrong step, drones zipped past, buzzing like angry wasps. Gas vents released thick fog, blocking their vision. And in the middle of it all, Rafe moved like a shadow. He didn't shoot. He didn't scream. He whispered into their combs, "You came for children. You'll leave in pieces." Enemy soldiers screamed. Some fired wildly. Others ran into traps. Some turned on each other in panic. Captain Ora watched the monitors in awe. "You're terrifying them." Rafe didn't respond. He was already on the move, heading straight for the command deck of the enemy pod. The turning point, Rafe reached the enemy command deck, taking out the guards with shocking speed. No mercy, no hesitation. He slammed a power spike into the control system and overrode the enemy signal. Now he spoke to all enemy ships. His face appeared on their screens. "I warned you. These children are under human protection. Keep testing. That if you dare." Then he pressed a button. Behind him, the enemy ship's engines exploded. Not enough to destroy, but enough to knock the fleet off balance. In that moment, Rafe sent a signal to deep space. The backup arrives. Far away, a hidden human listening post received the signal. 5 seconds later, the message reached Earth Command. Within moments, human warships were launched. They were fast, silent, deadly. By the time the enemy fleet tried to recover, they saw bright lights in the distance. Ships. Human ships. The enemy commander ordered a retreat. Too late. The human fleet descended like lightning. Precise, brutal, unforgiving. Within minutes, the entire enemy fleet was in flames or fleeing. Inside the damaged alien rescue ship, the children watched in awe as human warships flew past their windows. One of them whispered, "That's what he is." Captain Ora asked, "What do you mean?" "He's not just a man," the child said. "He's a storm." Aftermath. The rescue ship was surrounded by human fighters. Medical ships arrived. Engineers offered repairs. But more importantly, protection. Rafe finally relaxed. He sat down beside the children, covered in burns and bruises but smiling. Captain Ora stood beside him. "You fought like a monster." Rafe chuckled. "No, I fought like a father." The children, who had once seen him as a stranger, now crawled into his arms. They were safe because one human said they would be.